Perfect. How are you doing, man?
Good. Let me close the door. Hang on.
Okay, perfect.
So you're all safe, hunkering down?
Super safe, man. Miami, no problem. Up to this moment,
Unbelievable.
not a problem.
It's like a spaceship came to Earth and we all ran.
Yeah, well, actually, what's crazy is that in Peru, for example, a lot of good things are happening. Like the rivers are cleaning and the lakes are a little bit better. There's more fish. The bears are having more sex. So there's a yin yang here, man.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay.
But,
Hey, Johan. Am I on? Okay, Johan. Basically, well, thank you so much for speaking with me. We made like a sondage. Like we asked a lot of people who did we want to interview in English. Basically is Hans Gildemeister. My friends Andres Gomez, Victor Pecci, and we had a couple of names, guys that you've played against, but they wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
Basically because all of them were in agreement that you were a great tennis player, but you were also one of the best athletes. Have you played other sports but tennis?
Yeah, I was, in South Africa. Well, first of all, thanks. It's fun to be with you. So,
Thank you.
all this new technology, Zoom, everything is zooming,
Yeah.
So, after all negatives, there's always a silver lining. So this is a good thing. No, I grew up in a very small farming community in South Africa, in an area called Pongola. It was my small town. At that time, it's maybe 500 farmers.
That's it?
And and it had 2 cement courts. And my parents were just club players. They enjoyed tennis.
Right.
Wednesdays and Saturdays they played. They had to roll the net out, put it up, and then at the end of the day, I was begging them to play. And so that's how I started when I was 4. But when I was in school, I went to the little school. I could walk from my farm to the school, and it was only up till 12 years of age, and we were about 300 kids in the school of all different ages. And when you're a good athlete and if you could run, you do everything.
Right.
So I did athletics. I did a lot of sprinting, and tennis was my hobby. Rugby was my first.
But were they
because I'm built like.
Were they mostly Afrikaans? Were they black Africans?
No, we back then apartheid. We had white schools and we had black schools.
Right.
And it was in the 70s, early 70s, very different. Early 60s.
Right.
And so I grew up on a farm. I went to school barefoot. No, it wasn't a city. And
Right.
I was just doing all the other sports, and rugby was number 1.
Rugby.
And tennis was my hobby, yeah.
Chip Hooper, I spoke to Chip 2 weeks ago, and he told me that he saw you jump higher than he's ever seen a human jump. And actually saw you play in Wimbledon a couple of times, and it was crazy how you moved on it. But it's got something to do with you being able to play all sports. How was your first chance? What was the first chance that you got to play like on a national tournament in South Africa, coming from such a small place, man?
Very funny story.
Yeah.
So I was like 10 years old, and I was already playing for 6 years. And I was 10, and there was a tournament in a town next door, not far from us, 100 miles.
Right.
And it was right near the Kruger National Park. So where I grew up was on the south end of Zululand, and we had to drive around this country, small country called Swaziland, and my grandparents took me to the tournament, under 10.
Right.
And my granddad had a small Toyota pickup truck, and he pulled a caravan, the collapsible one.
Yeah.
So we stayed, and it was winter. We stayed in a caravan park with my grandmother, and she sees that my mom didn't pack me a sweater because where I come from, it was kind of warm.
Right.
I had no sweater. So she went to the store quickly, and she bought wool, and she knitted me a sweater in one day.
That's amazing.
So I had the sweater to play in, and I had this little red hat. I got to know that was my signature. I had this red hat. It wasn't a cap. It was a hat, like
Right.
a funny-looking, stupid-looking hat, And anyway, so my grandparents took me there early in the week, and then, I was in the finals, and my parents drove up. Hey, the kid's doing good, and I won the tournament.
Okay.
And so the first tournament I ever played, I won. And the town is called Nelspruit, which is the same town that Cliff Drysdale is from.
Right.
Cliff Drysdale was born there, and so that was my beginning. And then tennis. I was discovered when I was 12 by this coach from Johannesburg, and he said this kid needs to get out of here. He's never going to improve, so let's bring him to a city. And back then Johannesburg was English speaking, Afrikaans speaking. Pretoria was more like it's also one of the major parliamentary cities in South Africa right now, between Cape Town. We have two cities, so we have parliaments in Cape Town and in Pretoria. So I went to boarding school, big change. I mean, tie, nice jacket, like a military school almost, And because I was so good in tennis, they also made me play rugby, even though I was really good at rugby. But now I'm in a big city, it's 1,100 boys. It was a fantastic school. To this day, it's one of the best schools in the country. And my tennis exploded. And I was doing athletics as well as rugby. So I was I didn't play cricket anymore. I didn't swim anymore. But I was, when I was in my formative years from age, say, 6 to 10, 12, I was doing a lot of sports.
And first international tournament? First time that you went and, I guess, competed for South Africa? Or because you guys were having a hard time with apartheid?
South Africa was, we were completely buried in the southern tip of Africa.
Right.
And, apartheid, the political situation wasn't very good. So what happened was my coach who took over my coaching, he was like my second dad. His name is Ian Cunningham.
Yeah,
he was South African, and he found me, and then he just this kid has got to help, and so he would give me balls, he would give me strings. My parents were not wealthy; we were farmers, and so he sort of was become my second dad, in a sense. And so he immigrated to get a better job, and it was lucky for me because he went to Austria and lived in a small town on the border of Switzerland. And got a job there, and I didn't see him for 2 years. So from age 15, I didn't see him. And then at 17, I said, I want to follow him, and I want to go play tennis. And I told my parents, and I told the school, which was unheard of. I mean, the school, you finish school, and you're going to college, and you're going to become a prime minister. There's a school like that.
Right.
So I ended up following him. So to answer your question, the first time I played any significant international tournaments was never in the juniors. I didn't play one Wimbledon, never.
Not Orange Bowl, none of those.
No, never.
Who were your partners then? I mean, who like from South Africa? Did they already have great players at that time? I mean, would they have Cliff Drysdale?
Yeah, but they all lived. They were a generation and a half or two ahead of me. Ray Moore, Bob Hewitt, Fru McMillan, all of those guys were playing on the tour. Ray Moore was playing on the tour. Bernie Mitten, Byron Bertram, Dion Joubert, Willem Prinsloo. All those guys came out of South Africa, but they went to college here, so they were gone.
Right. Okay. So you went to Austria, and Afrikaans, that language resembles German, if I'm right.
We are a Dutch derivative language. So for me to learn German was quick. So
your first ATP points were in the United States in that famous watch circuit. Was that it?
No. My first points, I played a lot. So when I got there, my coach said after 6 weeks, he says, you can't sit on your ass in an apartment. You gotta either learn the language, and you're gonna help me with the coaching.
Right.
So he gave me a job. So I actually learned to coach from him and other coaches. He had like 6 other coaches working with him, or 4 other coaches at the club, a big indoor-outdoor club in Austria. And his daughter is still running the same club.
You were 17 then. You were 17 then. 18 years.
I was 17, yeah, and I was 17 when I arrived, and shortly after that I turned 18. But so I coached and made money, and then I would take a train and I go to Switzerland, Zurich or Basel or somewhere and play. I would go to Vienna, I would go to Germany, I would go to France. And so I kind of trained, I worked, and that's why I have a keen eye for coaching, because I learned from my coach, what to look for, and so now it's become my hobby again. Is my coaching, and I love it. My first ATP points, I think, was either in Germany or France, somewhere in there, maybe some Austria, and I got better and better, and nobody knew. Everybody from South Africa thought I quit and I disappeared.
Right.
So then in 1978, I was 19. my coach said, listen, I think you should talk to the ATP and see if you can play in the States. You should go there for 6 weeks and play.
Right.
So I looked at the list of tournaments, and that was the watch circuit in Florida in 1978. And I arrived in Miami in 78.
78, is that when Andres Gomez were they already there, or did they come a little bit later?
I don't think Andres was there. Tim Wilkerson was there, Victor Amaya,
Rick Fagel,
Willem Prinsloo, Rick Fagel.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember because I was a kid at Bolletari's, and I remember seeing you play in Sarasota. So when was the big break? When did you play a big tournament and actually get enough wins to get higher in the ranking?
Yeah, when I arrived in Miami, I was ranked like 867 in the world. And so I played the first 2 tournaments. I didn't even qualify.
Really?
I lost in the qualifying. The third week, I got to the semis. The fourth one, I won. The fifth one, I won. So I came in like third or fourth in points. And I looked at my visa. I said, I was supposed to leave in 2 weeks, but I have $1,500. I can continue to play.
Right.
So I said, okay, I'm going to hitchhike. And then I played the Southern Spring Circuit, which was following the watch circuit.
Where was that?
It was in North and South Carolina.
Right, that's what Wilkinson. Tim Wilkinson was the man there, right?
Tim was a bit younger than me, but he was like, diving around at that time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mr. Dr. Dirt. And but funny enough, I beat Victor Amaya and I beat Tim Wilkinson in a tournament in Hialeah. I won Hialeah.
Right.
And so I kept playing the satellite tour. And then I had my ranking drop down to in the 300s, 400s, something like that. And then I could get into the qualifying of the summer tournaments, which was Stowe, Vermont, New Hampshire. Remember North Conway?
Right, North Conway, Boston, and those.
Yeah. I won 2 American Express tournaments in New Jersey, which
How big
helped
were those? Were they like satellite?
25,000. 25,000.
Okay.
But you know what's a funny thing? In one of them, I beat this guy, Cliff Letcher from Australia in the finals.
I remember Cliff
I
Letcher.
beat him, and then I played Matt Mitchell.
Right.
And I beat Matt Mitchell in one of them, and then I beat Peter Rennert in the finals of the second one.
Right.
And what I didn't realize is that at the time, I had no idea who Rennert was. I'm playing this guy. And so he was a lefty. And I did not know at the time that McEnroe drove down from New York to watch his buddy Peter Rennert play this guy from Africa.
Right.
And I beat Peter Rennert in the finals, and McEnroe saw me play.
Right.
I had no idea who McEnroe was. He was already on the tour.
Okay, so now you're ranked in the 120s, after.
No, I was ranked 240.
And then.
And so I played North Conway.
But these are on clay. These are tournaments on clay.
On clay, I'm just playing.
Exactly.
So I'm hitchhiking. I go to Stowe. Tim Gullickson beat the shit out of me first round.
Oh my God! Was that the lefty or the righty? Which one was that?
That was the righty. Tim, the server volley.
Yeah.
So he beat me first round, and then I played. And then after Stowe, they said, "Hey, you got enough ranking points to get into the qualifying of the U.S. Open."
Wow.
Okay, where's the U.S. Open? New York. So back in New York, I played in a qualifying, and I qualified. I won 4 rounds, and then I started beating everybody. And I
was
got
that
to
on
the
clay?
quarters.
That U.S. Open? Was that Forest Hills?
No, it was the first. It was on hard courts at Flushing Meadows.
It was
78.
So your first Grand Slam was Flushing Meadow.
And I got to the quarters. Yeah.
Oh, right off the bat, quarterfinals. Do you remember who you beat? Do you remember the guys you beat?
Yeah, I beat Yannick Noah in the round of 16, 6-4 in the 5th.
Oh my God, what a
Then I beat Brian Teacher.
It was very fast that year. I remember the first year, Flushing to me was just so fast.
It was very fast, and I liked it. And I played Yannick in the grandstand, the old grandstand.
Yeah, I remember that the lighting was kind of strange, you know?
Yeah, it was one side is shade and the other side. But, so that's my first introduction to Yannick, and I didn't know he was, I heard he's from Cameroon, but I was so focused on playing. And, so we were little did we know that the two of us were going to be the only African-born athletes to win Grand Slams.
That's amazing. I didn't know that fact. That's amazing. Okay, so then who were your? I know that you went. Then after that, I imagine you could get into anywhere you wanted. And then you what?
Yeah.
You went to Australia right off. I mean, with your success in Grand Slams where it came so fast?
Yeah, I went. I didn't play the Australian Open right after '78. I only started playing it in '81.
Okay.
I don't know why. You know, the Australian Open back then was less of a Grand Slam than it is now. Unfortunately, I have to say.
Right.
So I started playing in 1981.
Okay.
So I went to '81, which was in January.
Right. So right after New Year's Eve. It was ridiculous. The timing was so difficult.
Yeah, and then they changed it in '82. So I was the only player in the history of Grand Slam tournaments to win the same tournament in the same year.
Jesus, that's two incredible facts. You know, one of the few Africans. That's incredible, man. Who
I won it in '81 in January, and I won it in '82 in December.
Who did you play?
I beat Steve Denton twice in the same finals.
Steve Denton. I remember Steve. Have you seen Steve lately? He's gained a little bit of weight.
Steve enjoys his barbecue.
Yeah, he sure does. Okay, so now these are questions that, you know, most of the people that follow us are Latin Americans. Did you get to play people did you play Hans Gildemeister? Because right now he's
I did. I think I played Hans Gildemeister somewhere on clay. It was either at the Mercedes Cup in Forest Hills when it was on clay.
Yeah, for
early
the
80s,
Tournament of Champions.
maybe early 80s.
Yeah, you beat me doubles there. You probably don't remember, but you and Tracy the Lad beat the shit out of Hans and I there.
We won the tournament.
Yeah, Tracy the Lad was hitting every ball in my head, man. I was so scared of the guy. He was so scary.
Tracy the Lad, he's in Lafayette, Louisiana now, but he's in Dallas, Texas, but he was from Lafayette.
Right.
But Tracy's leg was as thick as my body.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
He was a strong guy. But Tracy and I had an unusual doubles combination. We beat McEnroe Fleming twice.
I remember that.
So we won it. I think we won the tournament in Forest Hills. You
did win it. You did win it because I was there in the final. Did you ever play Gildemeister Gomez? Because, you know, they won a lot of tournaments. Did you ever get to play against them in doubles? Do you remember?
You know, I would have to look at the record books. I'm pretty sure I played them, but I don't think we beat them. I think Gomez was just a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, yeah, just throwing those lobs. And Gildy, too. He wouldn't miss a return. How about Vilas? Because I remember one match with Vilas. I was training with him that year that I remember you grew a mustache. That was one of the things at Forest. It was at the French Open. And you beat the crap out of him. I think you won 3 sets straight, didn't you? You were coming on his second serve.
I beat him, but I won the battle, but I lost the war. I mean, I beat Vilas 3-6, 7-6, 7-6, 7-6. Right. 4 sets, 4.5 hours.
Yeah, so you can't play the semis after that.
I was completely shot. Physically, completely gone.
Do you remember who you played in the semis then?
Yeah, I lost to Lendl. But the funny thing is, I lost to Lendl in the semis a day later, but I could not get out of bed. I literally could not. Bill Norris came to my hotel room. He's getting doctors to inject my shoulder, my elbow, my wrist. It was gone.
It was incredible.
And I somehow... But the day that I played Vilas was really hot. I mean, it was very hot weather. And you know how it changes in France. And then a day and a half later, I'm playing Lendl. It was 48 degrees, and we had to play with tracksuits on. It was so windy and cold.
Which is perfect.
We were freezing.
Which is perfect.
Horrible.
Is there a guy that you love playing that was supposed to be one of the best players in the world, but I guess his game suited you perfectly?
It was McEnroe.
You actually got a lot of wins over him?
Yeah.
Well, because of your backhand return, right? You would just...
Yeah, I think we played like 22 times. I think I beat him 9 times or something.
Really?
Yeah, but I beat him. The best one for me, personally, was in 1982 when I won the second Australian Open. There was riding up, and they said, Kriek won his second Grand Slam, but he's not really at the top. He's also ran. And so 2 months after I won the Australian Open, we played in Memphis indoors, which is my favorite surface, very fast. And McEnroe got to the finals, and I beat him 6-4 in the third.
Wow, did you play Philly? Was Philadelphia still on at that time?
Yeah, I played Philly. Unbelievable tournament. I think one of the funniest things that Feedback was playing. Remember the semifinals? They have the 2 courts next to each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they changed the finals to 1 court.
Right.
They rebuilt the stadium.
Like in Newport.
So I was playing Gerolitis on one court, and on the other court was Connor's feedback.
Right.
Connors quit because the two of us were running so hard. We were running into their court while they're playing, retrieving balls, and Connors was berserk.
Do you have a story that you think is something that you want to share? Like, do you think it's really, really funny? Because traveling so much, like we've had, some of our stories are just incredible. You have one that you can share with us that you think the people will enjoy?
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many funny ones. Oh my God. I'll tell you a very quick one with Bjorn Borg. So Bjorn and I, we have to fly to Europe to play exhibition, and we're in New York, and we flew on TWA. So we first class, and Berglund and Borg are working together, and Borg has 20 rackets in a case that looks like a guitar.
Right.
It's got 20 rackets, and they were wooden Donne Borg rackets, strung 80 pounds, crazy tension with gut. So, it's a night flight. So we get up, and he's in first class. He's across the aisle from me, so I see him, and everybody wants autographs, and the stewardesses are swooning over him. And Bjorn is starting to pound some drinks, and he was getting nice and happy. And so the next thing, we are asleep, and one of his rackets broke. The string just popped in the plane, and everything is dead quiet, and it sounded like a bomb.
Really?
I mean, this like super loud noise. Everybody is awake. Everybody's looking around. We're gonna crash. And Borg is sitting there like this. He's just giggling. He knew one of his rackets just exploded.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
When was
but the other one?
Sorry. Go
the
ahead.
other one was I had a rental car, a Ford Pinto, which even downhill off a cliff can go 50 miles an hour.
Right.
So I'm driving this rental car on the Merritt Parkway because I was living in Connecticut to play the U.S. Open. This is like 84. Lendl is number one.
Were you training with him? He was in
lives in Greenwich.
He was in Connecticut then, right? Lendl.
Yeah, he lived in Greenwich, Connecticut. So I'm driving fast. I'm going like 60 and a 50 in my Pinto rental car, and I have tennis clothes on. So I drove, and the Merritt Parkway is the oldest highway in America, by the way, and it comes over the Whitestone Bridge, and then you go to the U.S. Open. So it's an hour and a half drive. I was in Westport, Connecticut, so I'm driving, and I got to go by Greenwich. And so I come to Greenwich area, and there's an on-ramp onto the highway. It's a beautiful scenic highway through the mountains. You see deer and raccoons. At night it's dangerous, but so it's in the middle of the day. I'm driving to the U.S. Open, and the cop pulls me over. Jeez, are you kidding me, man?
Yeah.
Cop pulls me over. He's sitting behind my Ford Pinto. He walks up. He wants my driver's license, everything. So he says, "Get out of the car and stand to the side." So I'm standing at my car with my tennis clothes on.
Okay.
And the cop is in his car with his hat like this. He's writing the ticket. And the next moment, I hear this Porsche, because I had a Porsche at home, and I like Porsche, so I know what it sounds like. And I hear this Porsche 911 coming down the highway, flat out. So here comes this Porsche over the hill, and it goes by me, honking, screaming, and guys are flipping me off, and all this. There's feedback and Voigt, feedback and Lendl in the Porsche. And the cop goes like this. He goes, "Do you know those guys?" I said, "Yeah, it's Ivan Lendl." He said, "I've been trying to catch him for 2 weeks."
Hey, yeah, I gotta ask you the last questions because we actually this is all the time we've got. But Johan, something that you think that define you not only as a tennis player but as a winner. You're a Grand Slam winner. You've made your life doing pretty much what you love. Because I remember watching you play. You actually enjoyed playing, even though when you got in a bad mood, you would always be fighting and trying to win. Something that you would like to leave for the people as a coach now, not so much as a player, but that you like to pass on to people that are listening to you now?
Today's tennis coaching is very different from when I coached, when I was in the 70s and 80s. Science has become very important. Every aspect of the athlete has to be looked at. It's becoming even more and more scientific. In the future, we will probably have more smart clothing so that the guy can sit on his iPad and he says, "Oh, Pablo is running too much. His heart rate is 190."
Right.
Or something like that. So that's coming. You're going to know the temperature of your shoe. You're going to know calorie burns from the from the sweat in your shirt. I mean, it's crazy what's coming. We know it's coming, and the rackets is going to be even more technology. So, I think the one thing that has never changed. The one thing that has never changed is like what you just mentioned to me, and there's two things. The love of the sport.
Yeah.
If you're crazy, you have to be a little bit crazy to play this.
Yeah, that's absolutely, yeah.
If you want to be good at any sport today, you have to be a little nuts.
Yeah, obsessive.
You have to have such a passion. It's not easy. But you have to always have the passion that even under the most horrific circumstances, you come back and next week is another tournament. It's another match.
Yeah.
So you gotta have knowing what's coming. You have to have the hardware, all the shots, all the speed. Your rackets have to be good. You gotta have right shoes. You gotta do the right thing. You gotta eat well, sleep well. You gotta have But the software is part of the peace that you have with yourself, whether you win or lose, you tried your best.
Right.
Never to give up, but to have fun and be humble to the expectation that I can't believe I just won. Oh, I just did this, Some people, they go through their career and they say, oh, well, I was told like I was supposed to be there. They never truly take time to enjoy their accomplishments because it's like somebody wrote you the script and you read it.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not into the character, you don't really enjoy it, do you? Mm-hmm. And that's why you have these wonderful actors because they become that in the script.
Right.
They become that person. And I think we have to stick to our own script, which is the heart. And the science is one thing and the hardware is science. But I think that there's art to this game that mimics life. And that's why I love tennis so much because I have learned more about myself being a tennis player than if I just walk through life. So I think it has made me a much better person, much more richer person.
So it's a creative process. Well, Johan, this is amazing. And from the response that I've got, I know that I'm going to have to call you again. But, I learned two great things today. The fact of you being one of the two Africans winning a Grand Slam, it's super for me because I was brought up with Yannick. We played orange ball and everything together. And to me, the guy is an angel. And I've always watched you play. You were my dad's favorite player. You and Vilas, actually. So
no.
Yeah. So it's
great. But I gotta give you credit before you go. What? You kicked my butt in the first round. You beat the crap out of me in the first round of the Italian Open 1 year.
You were upset about something. I don't know. You were upset about something. I think it's like because we play in a shitty court or something. But Johan, it's amazing to talk to you, and I'll see you in Naples. We're close by after this Corona shit is over. I'll come on over and visit you. But thank you very much. And guys, I will be speaking to Johan Kriek, Australian Open champion, and a great person. I'll see you all soon. Ciao, Johan.